Good morning, church. My name is Christopher Donnell, and it is Monday morning, and it's time for some Motivational Monday. It is my favorite time of the year. It is the week of Thanksgiving, and as I've shared past few Sundays, my first time was a Freudian slip, but I said my favorite month is Thanksgiving. But that is how much I love it, and I'm praying that it's a great time for you to be reflecting on all the good things that are in our lives because of how good our God is, and that you can do that with people you love and care about, and obviously enjoy some good food too. And that's really what I wanted to share today. We ended our series on the Psalms of Thanksgiving on this past Sunday, and we were looking at Psalm 100 where it says, "May we enter his courts with thanksgiving and praise." And I think we can easily think about that picture, entering God's courts, his temples, his church, with thanksgiving and praise. And that could look like singing or speaking out loud. But what the psalmist was referring to was the sacrifice of thanksgiving. It was an actual sacrifice in the Old Testament. There was lots of sacrifices, animals for sin and guilt offering, and there was different breads or different spices or different items required to have a sacrifice to God. And I think a lot of times we think of those Old Testament sacrifices as those guilt and sin offerings where there was an animal slaughtered and then was burned up, and then God took the sin away through the act of the priest at the temple. But the Thanksgiving offering was different. There was actually bread involved, and throughout the Old Testament, you always see unleavened bread, meaning bread without yeast, being brought as this like hard, crispy, flat piece of bread, to represent really the strain on our relationship because of our sin. It was not like there's a difference between big and fluffy bread, and then there's this difference between this flat, crispy bread. And I think most of us would prefer big, fluffy bread. It tastes better and goes down easier. And so the Thanksgiving offering was different than other sin offerings and guilt offerings and other sacrifices. And you were allowed to bring bread with leaven, with yeast, big fluffy bread, and you were actually commanded to eat the meal, the Thanksgiving offering, together with the priest in thanksgiving of something. And I just think that's a perfect picture for this week, that Thanksgiving is not just meant to be burned up, but it's meant to be consumed with others, with God, with each other, with his church. And when we offer thanksgiving, there is this communion that happens. It's not this separation or isolation. There's this union that happens together. So my encouragement, my motivation in this week is that when you think about what you are thankful for, that you would do that in the presence of God and with others, celebrating, not just saying, "Oh God, forgive me, I messed up," but also just taking time to celebrate what God has and is doing in your life and is yet to do. And so I pray that your bread is full of leaven this week, full of yeast, and is fluffy and is not crispy and stale, and that you enjoy it with God and others. Have a great week. Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next time.